Hello, everyone. How are y'all? We have another episode of Studio Talks. And as I mentioned before, we always, if we have time when we're doing sessions and so forth, we like to pause for a moment and have a little time to visit with an artist that we're working with here at Malden Productions. And this week we have Gary Patrick.
Hey.
Gary and I have worked together for a while now. We worked on a couple of records and some live stuff, and
5 years.
I feel like we've had a really fruitful working relationship. So I'm excited to have Gary here today, and I just want to ask you a couple of questions so that folks out there can get to know you a little better and maybe discover your music if they haven't already.
Far away.
I think it's fun to start, from the beginning and just ask a sort of a historical question and say, how did you get started? Like, when did you get really fired up about music, and how did you start playing guitar and all that stuff? Like, how did it all start for you?
Oh, that was easy. I always wanted to be just like my big brother.
Yeah.
And he's 12 years older than me, and I kind of shanghaied his guitar when I was a little kid. And he was always a great guitar player, but it just seemed like it was just a right fit for me. So I kind of robbed him of his guitar when I was a little kid at like 5, and then I just loved it. Music wasn't a decision for me. I was kind of helpless. It kind of grabbed me.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Sense?
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I feel like I didn't just decide I was going to do music. It's like I couldn't think about anything else. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, it just becomes this overwhelming, sort of passion in your life.
That's right. Right. Regardless of the consequences.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were going to do it.
Yeah. Losing a girlfriend, or your parents being ticked off, or whatever. The neighbors being aggravated because you're playing too loud. I mean, I've heard that that's an issue.
No, it's a real issue.
Yeah, but that's a common story too about some older or younger sibling, having an instrument that they like, but they don't love, but you love it. You sort of commandeer it, and the rest is history.
Oh yeah. And my brother was so supportive, and my older sisters, and my parents they've always cultivated music in my life.
Yeah.
And for me, I stood on those shoulders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really always had.
So there was a lot of music going on in your house.
Oh, absolutely. My mother.
What kind of records? Can you remember the sort of records that were being played?
Oh my! Absolutely. I mean, I remember Roberta Flack.
Yeah.
When I was a little boy, I remember my mother had a beautiful music box, and there was a Mozart piece on the music box, and I remember I was always drawn to that.
Yeah.
I always wound it up. I would just stare at it.
Yeah.
And when I got old enough to remember lyrics, Neil Diamond's album called Moods came out. And my family had an 8-track player.
Yeah.
And on that album,
what a terrible format.
On that 8-track, I know, clink clink.
Yeah, like it would click over in between in the middle of a song.
In the middle of a song, right?
Yeah.
I fell in love with the song called "Song Sung Blue," and the song I still remember when I was a little boy. The song that made me fall in love with music was "Play Me." It's a waltz, which is 6/8, and it made it's the perpetual wheel that never stops.
Right.
That's my favorite song to this day.
Oh, wow.
Play Me.
Oh,
yeah. Got married and had our first dance to that song.
I've heard you cover a Neil Diamond song on occasion. I don't know if I've heard you play that one, but
yeah. That's but that, and I mean, my dad was listening to classic country. He always tried to get me to listen to Willie Nelson, and at the time I thought, Daddy sounds funny,
Yeah.
But no, he's right. Nobody tells a story like Willie Nelson.
Yeah, like Willie Nelson was one of those artists for me that didn't open to me until I was grown.
Yeah.
I didn't get him as a kid, but when I started to become more of what you would call an adult, insofar as I am an adult, I started to understand, oh yeah, I get this. Yeah, this makes sense now.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists like that for me that I didn't understand when I was a dumb kid, but then when I got older, I was like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get why everybody's freaking out for so many decades over this artist.
I'm drawn to it now. When I was a teenager, or when I was 10 years old, my brother handed me he handed me the Boston Don't Look Back, which was the second Boston album.
It's awesome.
And he said, okay, I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to give you Sultans of Swing.
Oh, wow.
Martin Knopfler, Dire Straits. And he goes,
what an unlikely pop star. It's Martin Knopfler.
Oh, he's just...
You go back and listen to that music, and it's like... This is not what you would imagine pop music being in the 80s or any other era, really. But he was a true, he really, people dug him, man.
They still do.
And they still do, and he's awesome for good reason.
He's great. I think, of all, Mark Knopfler is one of the most singular sounds ever in my heart. Like, you can hear him play two notes, a phrase, and you go, oh, that's Mark Knopfler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, he's one of my favorite guitar players ever.
Yeah.
So Ronnie, my brother Ronnie, raised the bar immediately. Said, so kid, you want to play guitar? You got to play like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You want to play guitar? Here, listen to this record. It's like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Or hey, if you want to sing like Brad Delp.
Okay.
Boston.
Well, good luck.
And my sister Carol, she handed me Dan Fogelberg.
Yeah.
And Toto.
Oh gosh.
And Earl Klug, which was a jazz guitar player.
Yeah,
so that was going on with my sister Carol, and my sister Kay handed me the Eagles.
Yeah.
And that right there was enough to just,
right.
When I my siblings are 8, 11, and 12 years older than me. So
you're the baby.
I'm the baby. Right?
So you're getting all of the wisdom is trickling down.
Exactly. So when I got in junior high, and everybody's listening to Rat, and hair metal and stuff. I'm like, you guys are out of your minds. There's this man called Journey, and they're like, what's wrong with you, Time Fighter?
Yeah.
So I was always stuck with my siblings' music.
Sure.
But my heart beats to that music. I would say
that's cool. So, having said that, like I mentioned, we've worked on a couple of records together and some live stuff, and so having established that, I really have enjoyed our time together, collaborating and so forth.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the releases you've had recently, the ones that are coming up? Where do you feel you are in that process? What are your thoughts on your current and recently past releases and so forth? I feel like
I'm standing on the ledge, about to make a great move. And I'm a very impatient person.
Yeah.
That's just, I want to record something and I want to see a result instantly. Right. Well, that's just not how it has worked for me.
Yeah. Or for most people, to be honest, there's we can think of a few people, that where it's feels like an overnight success, but it's mostly a grind,
I'm understanding that more and more.
Yeah.
As long as I've been playing music for a living, which is a very long time now, on the creative side, I've released this. We're about to release our EP called This World.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 4th release.
Yeah, right.
And I really never understood how to release an album. I never did my due diligence because that wasn't my forte.
Well, and it's a moving target anyway. As the years go by, how to do that changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do I feel about it right now? I feel like I'm about ready to jump off in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to record again.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do some work on a new project, right?
That's right.
That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so several singles from the EP you mentioned have been released already, and then the rest of the EP is about to come out.
That's right.
And you've had a couple of other releases prior to that, and so we're getting ready. You got a live thing that's going to come out.
That's right. A live studio recording from right in here.
Yeah, right. This fine place.
Yep.
And we have some new stuff coming out. I agree. I think your stuff is really amazing. I'll say this to you because you won't say it about yourself, but the fact is that you aren't just a good songwriter. You are a good songwriter, but you're not just a good songwriter. You're also a really great singer, and you're also a killer guitar player, which means that I hate you because you have too many talents, and it's not fair, and I hate your guts.
Oh, my friend, that is far too kind.
Yeah.
That is too kind. I've learned. I'm a slow study. Throughout my career of being a musician, that I always surrounded myself with people that are way better than me, and I absorb them like a sponge.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do.
And historically, I've been the most underconfident fellow on the stage, always feeling like, I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
No, I was ready 30 years ago.
Yeah.
What you do over a career is hone yourself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're always getting better. You never arrive.
Oh my gosh, you're a work in progress. If we're talking chicken soup for the soul for a musician right now, I would say be you now.
Yeah, right.
Be the best you now and work to get better.
Yeah, if you wait around till you reach some sort of imagined state of perfection, you never do anything. You know?
Right. And the only way you get good at something is have it in your hands
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you think about it, you know, like a lot of these box sets that come out, you know, of like legacy artists, you know, and they'll, to incentivize the box set, they'll put a bunch of like you know, stuff that wasn't released or like demos and stuff. And people love that because they love that artist. But that is them in a very imperfect state.
That's exactly right.
You know, but people still love it, you know, because there's something about them that you know, is attractive to people, that compels them. And so, yeah, that's...
It
I think,
humanizes an artist, too.
Yeah.
Because we hear these perfect recordings.
yeah.
And then you hear a demo of the song and you go, oh, he was having a bad vocal day.
Yeah.
Or that lyric wasn't quite right yet.
Oh, we've talked about it before. Some of the Paul Rogers vocals on Bad Company
Right.
are like he had lost his voice.
That's right.
Like you can hear it. It's like, and I guess it was just like, oh well, we have the studio today, and so you've got to sing this song. There's no option otherwise. And they're hits.
But they're so good that you never.
They're amazing.
I actually, what's funny about it, that's interesting that you bring it up. So I mentioned that my brother Ronnie handed me Boston, Don't Look Back. So Brad Delp was one of my favorite rock singers.
Sure.
And look, I'm recording, you know, I'm an Americana artist.
Yeah, right.
You know, I love Lyle Lovett, Sean Cullivan.
Sure.
I love so many Texas artists. But I started as a rock lover.
Right,
So that was my first love. So listening to a singer like that, not everybody sings naturally like that.
No.
I've had to work my entire life and career to be as good as I could be.
Yeah, you're right. To hit those stratospheric notes and stuff.
Just to maintain consistency. But the thing is about that, those Paul Rogers recordings, I look forward to hearing the parts where he's a human.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's all tired.
Yeah.
That makes it real.
Because you're like, oh, I'm not weird for being like weary after, you know, doing a bunch of dates.
Right.
My voice being tired, like that's actually something that people experience,
right.
You know, not just me.
And I'm a guy that plays. I don't only just write and record. I mean, this is how I make a living. So I play live several times a week.
Yeah.
So I'm always tired vocally. You know.
Yeah.
I have to take 3 weeks off to record an album.
Sure.
Just to get
rested.
To
kind of get your voice rested. Well, I've really enjoyed kind of like, going through some of these things, learning a little bit about your history, or maybe perhaps I knew those things, but, introducing that to the audience. I think maybe you have a song for us today.
Yeah.
What is that song?
Sure. I love the song called You Are.
Okay. I know it well.
We recorded that together.
Yes.
And it's a very endearing, cute little ditty. And I have fun playing it.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to it. Gary Patrick, You Are.
You are the sunshine I've been looking for. My days are bright now, how could I want for more? You are my sunshine. I wish all the world could see that the clouds are finally parted and you're shining there for me. I was lonely without you, but I'd do it all again. If I knew that I would find you, you'd be worth it in the end. I believe you hung the moon and the stars. You are. You are the apple of my eye, a bite of sweetness for so long I can't deny that I've been praying love would see me through and serve me up a little slice of heaven that I'd found right here with you. I was lonely without you, but I'd do it all again. If I knew that I would find you, you'd be worth it in the end. You couldn't make me any happier by far. You are. You are the sugar in my coffee cup. You cut the bitterness and really perk me up. I like my mornings waking next to you. Let's just stay right here and spend the day in bed, baby. Nothing else I'd rather do. I was lonely without you, but I'd do it all again. If I knew that I would find you, it'd be worth it in the end. I believe you on the moon and the stars. You couldn't make me any happier by far. You hold my hand while we're driving in the car. You are